Okay, we are live. Hello and welcome, Talking MotoGP fans. I'm pleased to welcome Don Ferry back.
Hello.
Like a decade away, it feels like.
Yeah, it's been a while, eh?
Yeah, no, it's great to have you back, Don. Let me just close a couple of things here so we don't get interrupted, because we do not want to be interrupted. As I said, I was going to keep it as like a surprise, but then I thought, some people might get cross that you don't announce that Darren's coming, because I like to spoil those people that watch us, week in, week out, the loyal fans. I like to spoil them, but then at the same time, we do have the people that just like to join and listen to the Binder brothers. So yeah, we do have Darryn Binder coming up a little bit later. Werner Kotsia, Francois Hermanes, or Hermes Hayes, I hope I said that right. Joan Mulder, Carmen Fisher, Michael John Ellett, Gareth Bailey, Hope Bailey. Gareth, I got your messages. I'm going to still reply to you, man. Sorry. Andrea Jacobs, Stephen Kalgoxi, Nicole Briet, Luca Jefferson, Sean Wilders, Bryce Rieder, Wesley Taylor, Justin DP, Chris Shears. There's a lot of people, Don. There's a lot of people.
There's quite a few. And they're all very upset because they're seeing only us.
It's like, where's Darryn? Where's Darryn? We like join to see Darryn. Well, you're gonna have to wait for Darryn. You're gonna have to put up with myself and Don for a while before you see Darryn.
Unlucky.
Yeah, unlucky for all of you. So obviously, yeah, it's great news that we were able to get Darryn. Very grateful. We'll obviously say thank you to him when we do get him. We'll obviously talk about his move to MotoGP, how his weekend went at Misano, how his World Superbike on that Yamaha R1 test went. We're going to ask away. We don't have him for a long time, 15 minutes, maybe push 20, but we'll keep it short and sweet with Daz. And then we'll carry on talking.
Time, not a long time.
No, exactly. And then we'll just carry on talking MotoGP from Misano, which was another awesome event. Don, let's just quickly talk about, obviously, the big news out of Misano was we have a new MotoGP champion.
Indeed. No, well, okay, so, right, what was really funny about that, and certain people are going to hate me for this, but what was really funny about it is we had Quartararo, all the celebrations. We had Rossi, celebrations, and somebody won, didn't they?
How did I know you were going to go there? How did I know?
I just had to. I'd be out of character if I did not.
Yeah, no, you would be. You would be completely out of character. But yeah, listen, Fabio, we said he had to change a lot coming into 2021 if he wanted to be champion. Everything we said he had to change, he did, and a worthy champion for sure.
Yeah. Although, okay, let's put it this way. Or this was what I was hoping was going to happen this weekend. I was hoping Pecco Bagnaia was going to win, in Misano. Because, nice guy, in front of his home crowd, down the road from where he was born, fantastic. And then Fabio Quartararo wins the championship at Portimao. That was my kind of hoping right there and then. And then, of course, we see and then there was that sort of moment where you see that Ducati, the red Ducati, and you go, oh, please let that be Michele Pirro. Please let that. Oh, no, it's not. It's Pecco Bagnaia.
No, it was frustrating.
But what I do find, okay, Pecco, this is something, it's going to be, should we say, it's going to be hard to beat for a lot of riders. He's a very thinking rider, if you know what I mean. He uses a lot of brain. Like, first Misano, he won.
Yeah.
But only just, and he had Quartararo catching up to him. But he didn't remember this. He didn't speed off. He didn't say, "Well, Quartararo's catching, I've got to go." He said, "No, keep a pace so that I'm okay and my tires are okay."
Yeah.
Let him come, and then literally it was like while Fabio was right behind him with one lap to go, he then put his foot down, pulled a gap. Same sort of thing. Now he's riding around this one now, but not Quartararo coming. He's got Marc Marquez right behind him. And you know what? A lot of people would have thought, okay, let's hammer it. Let's go. Let's pull the pin. But yeah, again, the problem there is that you're wearing out your tires, you're wearing out yourself, you're wearing out everything. So no, you said let Marquez stay there. I'm doing this pace. This is the pace I'm running. And then you saw with about 7-8 laps to go, he started pulling the pin. You know what I mean? It was brilliant. It was brilliant tactics, brilliant everything, except why the hell did they use a hard front? What for?
And when you've got a million-year experience guy like Valentino Rossi telling you don't go hard. Like, I know I'm not on your pace, but I know this place. I know how tires work. Do not go hard. And when you kind of scuff that advice, then this is what happened. But I mean, it's amazing how much harder did he actually push for that front end to do that? Again, it's that Michelin front where it just goes. And it didn't look like him or Jack or anyone when they crashed with those Michelin fronts were like really put. It's just how much more did he actually put? Like it was 5 laps to go. He had been pushing that front end for how long? And then it just gives out. Like I don't know. I don't know how it works. But anyway, like you said, it was
simple.
bad.
I mean, what people don't realize is how cold it was.
Yeah, so
we've got a friend walking around in the paddock, and apparently it was properly frigid. Yeah. And Michelin said they bought exactly the same tires to the track as last time. And a month ago it was middle of summer, boiling hot. Now it's cold, and they got the same tires. It's just a cold tire. I mean, you go through, especially that section. I mean, you go through 2 straights and about 100 right-handers, and then suddenly there's a left again, and you got a hard front, and that hard front's just not. And the thing about cold tires is it doesn't give you a warning. You tip in and everything's fine, and next thing you tip in and you're on the floor. It's what? I mean, you remember Catalonia last year? Everyone was doing the same thing. Guys were just tipping in, and next thing they're on the floor.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's. I kind of wish they'd gone with the medium. You remember that the whole weekend they hadn't had a proper dry practice at all. Nothing. So they were all just kind of guessing. What I do find interesting, and we've said this before, Michelin came with exactly the same tires as last time, and yet nobody used a soft front at all.
No one.
The only time they used a soft front was in that, I think it was during qualifying when it was still half damp.
Yeah.
That was the only time. And I mean, that doesn't really count. So again, why is Michelin bringing tires? They're bringing 3 tires, and a lot of people are using the hard. Not many people, a few people using the medium, although it was cold this time, so a bunch of people used the medium. But no one used the soft on a freezing cold event where it should have been the option. These were, when Michelin say, okay, we're planning for this. This is a scenario where you need the soft front. People should have been putting on the soft front. It just shows the tires are too soft, including the hard one. And, people like Brad and I think Marquez, a few others, have been struggling because of it. It just shows it again.
Look, again, it just baffles me. I mean, Ducati were normally the ones that took the gamble with soft, and they never really run hard fronts, especially fronts. And this time it kind of played in their favor. Quartararo was miles back. Go with a safe option. If a Marc Marquez behind you, and a Rossi, and again, it was the same thing as a couple of races ago when 90% at Kota, when 90% of the field are on that. MotoGP, there's not a lot of guys making mistakes anymore. You go with tried and tested. You don't, risks aren't paying off as much as they used to. Yes, Brad in Austria with the rain and that, but that was just pure bravery.
That wasn't really
different. Yeah, that was different. In this scenario, if you're a Pecco Bagnaia, you go, I've qualified well. Now, Championship Rival's way back. Let's not gamble anything here. Let's go with the tried and tested, medium front software. We know it's going to work. That's what Mark is on behind me, and he's going to be a challenger. That's what, whoever else is going to be a challenger. Rossi's telling me to do it. So, yeah, listen, Ducati missed a trick there for sure. Honda didn't miss a trick because, as a couple of people were saying here now, when who was it? Gareth O'Bailey said his wife didn't watch the race, and she said to him, so who finished on the podium? And he actually couldn't answer it because it was Marc Marquez, Pol Espargaro, and Enea Bastianini. Like, I mean, who would have thought?
Superbrews out the window again.
It's crazy. I mean, it's incredible. Look, I'm happy for the Hondas in a way. I'm happy for Mark. Mark, I was waiting for Mark to tuck the front, to be honest. I was like, yes, I'm waiting for Mark to crash because that whole scenario of not a lot of dry setup from the whole weekend thrown into the race, Mark got a good start. It was like the situation that I've seen Mark in before and he's thrown it away. And I was like, I was waiting. Yet here, this guy, he put the pressure on at the beginning. Like you said, Pecco was managing the pace. When Pecco pulled the pin, I think Mark went, I'm not 100% comfortable going with that pace. I'll hang on for as long as I can. But you know what? It looks like it's going to be second. And it looked like I don't want to say he settled for second, but it looked like I don't have the pace for Pecco. I'm going to wait. And then, he played the waiting game and got full benefit because he won a race again. He's now 5th in the World Championship. I mean, the guy's finished like 4 races. And he's 5th in the World Championship ahead of Brad, Aleix, and all these people. So, this newfound Mark, and I also think it's because of the bike and the tires that he goes, you know, 4 races ago when I was going, I don't care about the bike and the tires, I'm just going to push and landing on my head. He can't do that anymore.
What I will say, though, what played in Mark's favour is the fact that they had no dry time. And then suddenly, you know, Sunday they just got to make it up as they go along. Now, Marquez is very good at that. Like, you'll notice when it's wet, and everyone goes out for the first time when it's wet, and Mark will come along and immediately set like a 2 seconds a lap faster than anybody else because he's good at that. You know, you'll go straight out, read the track almost immediately, figure it all out, and he'll be fast. It'll be almost immediately. So I think the fact that, you know, that everyone was sort of going untested on a dry track definitely played into his hands, definitely. Something else I'll say is when you like see how a rider's doing, what a rider's feeling, you can get clues by body language. And I mean, you know how it is when you're sort of relaxing, you kind of move slowly on the bike, you don't hang off as much. The bike's very like calm, the bike's very stable, and yet, you know, when you're pushing hard, you can see like, you know, the rider fighting all of that, the bike getting out of shape and that. And you look at Pecco, and I mean, this is what I kind of thought. I saw Pecco in the beginning, and he had Marquez right behind him. But you watch Pecco, he was not. The bike was stable. He was moving slowly. He was very calm. And I actually said, Pecco is not trying hard. He's going to try hard later, but he's not trying hard now.
Yep.
And then sort of with 10 laps to go, Pecco still looks good, but you see Marquez behind him is starting to, you know, the bike's starting to wobble, and you could see he's starting to sort of fight the bike a little bit and getting a bit. And I thought, actually said, watch this. Pecco's going to win this. He's going to pull away. And he started pulling away. And I said, I told you. And then he fell off.
And Subaru went out the window.
Ruined my told you so moment.
Look, and hats off to Mark. I look at Mark and I think, you know, in a season with so many question marks and so much with his back against the wall on a Honda and all the crashes and his arm and all the near moments and people thinking if he's going to come back and whatever, in a season of so much trauma and difficulty and mental whatever, to come and win, what has he won, 3 or 4 races now this year, just tells me that when this guy is sorted or a bit more sorted and Honda is a bit more sorted, he's going to be a real weapon. But Don, we'll carry on with that because a lot of people have got load shedding at 9, so we don't want to go on too much.
Yeah.
They obviously didn't come to see me and you, unfortunately. They did come to see this man.
Look at this guy.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Beautiful man. Daz, thank you so much for joining us. How are you keeping, man?
I'm all good, thanks. And you? What's happening, Rob? What's happening, Don?
How you all doing?
All good.
Listen, we all good. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. We're going to steal you for a couple of minutes because in South Africa we have this thing called load shedding. So we can just get you as much as possible. So Daz, obviously the big question that everyone wants to know up front is just how do you keep your hair so long and silky smooth? I mean, how do you
a little bit of shampoo and conditioner, it goes a long way.
Have you ever thought about like getting like, okay, hang on, you're in MotoGP next year, so buddy, you got some opportunities. The Daz Dive Bomb shampoo line, shampoo and conditioner. Over
I'd
there,
love a shampoo sponsor.
And there's a picture of you on the front going.
Yes, yeah, there we go. The Daz smile. Now, Daz,
I'll make the call to L'Oreal. We'll get it done. All right.
Yeah, Darryn Binder Monster Dive Bomb by L'Oreal. That sounds cool. So Daz, obviously, I mean, the massive news was, and let me tell you, Daz, don't ever play poker because you've got the worst poker face ever. You just give everything away. So Darryn, is there any news of you going to MotoGP? No, I don't. I haven't heard anything yet. But I mean, don't play poker, dude. Just tell us the whole build-up with us. I mean, you've had to bite your lip for so long. How's it feeling? You're a MotoGP rider. Just give us the full unscripted stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy year. Obviously, at the beginning of the year, the plan was to just go to Moto2, and obviously that sort of started progressing, and that was the plan. I mean, up until like mid-season, I'd pretty much, that was the plan, and then the talks of GP kind of started, and it's nice to talk about it, and there's a possibility, like the slightest chance, but at the same time I had a backup plan, so it didn't matter. It was just cool. And then things started getting more real, and then obviously Petronas closed, so then I didn't have that comfort of the backup plan anymore. So I had some other offers for Moto2, which were really promising, but with the MotoGP deal on the table, it was a no-brainer to pass those up and just play the waiting game. So it took a lot longer than I expected, and I got quite nervous along the way. But I'm glad that everything planned out the way it did, and I'm super happy to be going to MotoGP next year. Yes, I can't thank everybody enough who's helped me along the way, and obviously all the people that are involved now that believe in me and that have given me this opportunity. Because it's not every day that somebody goes from Moto3 straight to GP. So I'm really looking forward to it.
I want to know the story, okay? Because we heard like months ago Darryn Binder may be going to MotoGP. Then we heard that Jake Dixon may be going to MotoGP. Then we heard Toprak maybe to MotoGP. Then we heard everybody maybe to MotoGP. And suddenly announcement Darryn Binder still. After we kind of lost hope a little bit because a million rumors everywhere. And it's sort of like, well, okay. I don't know how much you're allowed to say, but I mean, give us a bit of a story. How did this happen?
Yeah, obviously there was a lot of people's names being mentioned and stuff, and it just came down to basically the deal was going to be with Yamaha, and I just said to my manager, as long as that obviously someone from Yamaha can give us a proper verbal confirmation that this is real, that this is happening, then cool, we can go ahead and obviously wait it out, and because they said it'll take a long time and stuff. But yeah, I mean, obviously once we got that and they said that I was the man, and they believed in me and everything, and that's how it all just started happening. And then, I mean, the rumors just carried on for months.
Were you looking at those rumors and going, please, whatever?
I was just hoping none of them were true. I was hoping nothing backfired on me.
There's now obviously another big question apart from your hair and going to MotoGP is what Razlan came out in the press conference before Misano and said Darryn will be on a factory spec GP21 bike. So now effectively that is the bike that has just won the World Championship in the hands of Fabio Quartararo. Is there any confirmation that it will be Quartararo's bike? Rossi is on a 2021 spec in the Petronas team you with. Can you give us some insight on that?
Yeah, basically they've just said to me that I'll be on the factory 2021 bike. So, I mean, that is what Quartararo is riding at the moment. It is supposedly the same as what Rossi has. So, I mean, obviously no one's going to be using Quartararo's material. So I'm sure all of that will be coming over to me anyway. But it is supposed to be the same bike that Rossi has as well, and Frankie. So yeah, I'll be on that bike for next year. And I mean, obviously for me, it's just won the World Championship. And I mean, I'm going to have all that data from Fabio, from Frankie, from Rossi. I mean, so for me coming up from Moto3, it's going to be really cool to be able to have all that data of a bike that we know can win. That's pretty clear. So yeah, for me, it's awesome. I mean, I think now like Davi's on a bit of an older bike, and that's not the best because it's been a couple of years. But in my case, I think that bike is more than capable. And from what I've heard from the Misano test, that what rolled out in the Misano test from the 2022 bike wasn't too much different. So, well, I'm sure we'll see more in Jerez at the end of the year of their 2022 bike. But as of now, from what I understand, there's not too much changing next year.
I'm actually going to suggest something, especially hopping up from Moto3 straight to MotoGP. Maybe it's a better idea that you're on the older bike because you've got a lot to compare to. You could look at graphs, you could look at everything. It's not uncharted territory. The guys know the bike, they know how you're supposed to ride it. They know everything. So, do you think maybe it's even better?
Yeah, in my eyes, it's definitely not a bad thing. I mean, just to have all that data there at my fingertips will be great. It'll be good for everybody. Just to roll into the first test, they can just give me any bike that they know works in Jerez and just say, okay, yeah, go ride around for 2 days and learn. Because I mean, that's going to be a big part of it is going to be learning for me. I mean, it's a big step, and I think it's going to take quite a little bit of time, but obviously I'm dead keen, and I believe in myself, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Now, Daz, everyone's obviously asking about. Rumor came out that Darryn is going to jump to MotoGP. Then all of a sudden, this test that Bruno came on this yacht, World Superbike spec Yamaha, but it was all very hush hush. How did that test go? I mean, how did you feel on the bike? How was the track and the times? We know the track is pretty degraded, and that's why MotoGP didn't go there because of the surface. How did that go? And how dependent was that test? How, was it like, listen, if this guy performs here, he's got the MotoGP ride, or if he doesn't do kind of okay, then no, he doesn't have the ride?
Yeah, so basically that test came about at, even already starting before that, we had said, come on, try get me a test on the GP bike or something. Let me try out the bike. If you guys have any doubts or anything, come on, let me try show you something, or anything. And basically, Stiggy was good mates with Yacht, and we had been in contact with him quite a bit because we were getting parts, because I'd actually got a bike back home, getting it ready for December, whether I was going to Moto2 or MotoGP. I wanted a R1 to train on back home. So yeah, we'd been in contact with them, getting the parts and stuff. And then he organized this test for me, and he's like, okay, I'm organizing you a 2-day test in Brno, and we're going to try get you on the MotoGP Michelins. And just go out there and ride and have fun, At that point, things were already looking really good, but nothing was obviously confirmed. So they all said to me, it's just to go out there and have fun. Don't worry about it. So, it's not a test or anything. But so off we went, and it was myself, the media guy, and Wilco from the MotoGP team. He came with us, and we went to Brno for 2 days, and it was the bike that Karel Hanneke had raced in Most, I think like the weekend before. It was super cool. I got there, it was going to be my first time on like a full-blown superbike. So I was really excited for that. But unfortunately, it wasn't the greatest of tests for me. I mean, we had 2 days. It was a track day. So if throughout the 2 days, there was 4 sessions a day of 20 minutes from when the light goes green to when we were coming into the pits already. So that was not a lot of track time to start with. I was doing about, I think, 8 to 10 laps at max in a session, and I was lapping guys left, right, and center all day. And that bike, they normally run Bridgestones in the 24 hours and all that, and in the superbikes they run Pirellis. And the Michelins we got weren't the MotoGP tires. We got the Michelins like the endurance Michelins or whatever, the slicks. And unfortunately, they only sent us 4 sets of softs. And after, I could do, I think in total over 2 days, I did 60 laps, and I ruined all 4 sets, like 2 blisters, 2 holes. They were destroyed. They couldn't do a lot of laps. So it was quite tricky. The track conditions were terrible. There was 0 grip. The temperature was like 12 to 15 degrees over the 2 days. So yeah, I left that test highly disappointed, because I mean, I think my best lap time was a 2:03 or something, which is far from what a World Superbike should be doing, So, but at the same time, it was just impossible to ride. The traction control was going on halfway down the straight. So I left that test feeling like a little bit worried. I really felt like I could not even give it 80% out on track. But at the same time, I didn't know what they really wanted to see, and obviously it was with all the yacht guys. So, and they thought that it wasn't that bad because they'd been there a couple of weeks before with their guys, and they said when the track conditions are bad, this is more or less where they're at. So, I mean, that's it. So that was the 2-day test, and everyone was like, yeah, it's cool, whatever. No one said anything. Everything carried on. So it was fun for me. I got to ride a superbike around for 2 days.
Oh, geez. But I suppose for those sort of things, I mean, they're not just looking at your pace. They're looking at the way you interact with the bike, interact with the mechanic. And I think it's really cool you went with Wilco, because you kind of spend time with him. He gets to see what you're like. You see what he's like. I know you've impressed Simon Crayford. I don't know if you're going to his house and feeding something like that, but that dude rather likes you.
Yeah, I know. Simon's cool. We spend quite a little bit of time with him up in Andorra, go ride trials with him, go up to his house, have a braai and whatnot. And yeah, it's good. There's quite a lot of MotoGP riders around here, and we all get together once upon a time.
I like it.
Now, Daz, obviously, another big thing is, I mean, you haven't raced against Brad competitively, I think, since 150. Lee Oxley is actually commenting here. 150 days, GP 125 days. I think maybe I don't even know if you did a 600 race together, but you're going to be on the grid with your brother next year. Now, I want to like just draw up a situation here. There's a Brad Binder in front of you like this. And there's a Darryn Binder here. There's a brake marker here. What does a Darryn Binder do to a Brad Binder with a brake marker here to go into that corner, knowing that you live together, you love each other, you're best friends, mom and dad are watching, Uncle Rob's watching, Uncle Don's watching, the world's watching. What does Darryn do?
Hang on, I'm going to answer this. The same thing as Moto 3. Wait for the brake marker, then count to 3.
100%. Count to 3 and then brake. And if all shit, if it goes arse over head, then just hope that he doesn't stack me when I stand up in the gravel.
Oh, well, he said that if you beat him, you're moving out of his house.
Yeah, he keeps joking about that. He keeps saying, the first time you beat me, you got to move out the house. Geez, I better start looking for a house. I plan on beating him.
I was going to say, he's joking now, but when you do actually beat him and then you get home and all your stuff is like out on the pavement.
Yeah, no, let's see. I think it's going to be quite a challenge to catch Brad in the beginning, but I really hope that we can have some battles out on track. I think it would be awesome. Obviously, I don't think Brad would... he would keep everything on track, and off track would still be brothers and love each other. I
like how you're staring at him right in the eye, like with his evil eye over the phone. Like, listen, I'm saying these nice things while you're here. That's about it. That's where it ends.
Let's see.
Brad, go to your room. We want to hear Darryn being honest.
He's not yet, unfortunately, so don't worry.
All right. Okay, people are asking about your number here. Are you keeping number 40? Do you know? And when are you first riding the MotoGP bike?
Yeah, so luckily that was one of the greatest things about jumping straight to MotoGP. I get to keep 40. I don't have to change. It was actually funny. The one day Razdan came up to me and he said, give me a good reason why we should take you straight to GP. And I said, so I can keep my number. I don't have to change it. So yeah, that's always a good thing. The first time the first time I get to ride the bike will be the Thursday, Friday after Valencia down in Jerez. It's an official MotoGP test. It's I think 18th and 19th of November. So that'll be the first 2-day test that I roll out on the bike, and then we'll see.
Yes, I can't wait, dude. I literally can't wait to see you on a MotoGP bike. We've waited so long for just you to ride anything but a Moto3, to be honest. It's been such a long wait. But let's just talk quickly about Moto3. Another phenomenal ride in Misano. You came from 479th place. You made up 640 positions on the first lap. You got yourself into this comfortable third, and we were at Red Star, so I wasn't really paying attention. And I recorded the race. I was going to watch it later in the comfort of my own home, but now I'm running up and down doing media stuff, and everyone's saying, he's fourth, he's third. And I'm like, but who are you talking about? Like, I'm watching the race. I can see Dino Iozzo's in third or whoever. And they're like, no, Darryn. I'm like, oh, for God's sake. I don't want to know. I'm watching anyway. Then I watched it. I actually only watched it today, and you had this comfortable third, and I thought, okay, maybe people have got it wrong. You must have finished third. And then all of a sudden, bam, you dropped like a stone. Tyre, what happened there?
Yeah, I mean, Misano was a tough weekend. Thursday was the best day of my life, dream come true, MotoGP rider, press conference, everything was lacquer. Friday morning, I was slow. It was wet. Friday afternoon, I was slow. I felt fast in the beginning of every practice, but by the end, the guys really turned it up, and I was still like more or less the same. So yes, I really was worried sleeping Friday night. I went from hero to zero, bring you back down to earth. This is where you are. And Saturday morning, I was good in the rain. I managed to get through to Q2, so I was happy with that. And then quali was basically a dry track on wets, except the last sector. I really wish I'd risked it and put in slicks, and I don't know, I would rather have fallen off and tried than qualified 16th. It was shocking. I just couldn't string it. I don't know. I couldn't do it. Warm up, my team and I thought it was dry. We had the full dry setup, slicks in on the warmers, ready to go. Yes, and like 5 minutes before the session, I'm like, yes, guys, let's just do it. Right, we ran out to have a look at the track, like on the access roads, and I was like, guys, it's wet. We put in the wets. There's no way. They're like, okay, we're going to leave the dry bike, go check a lap, and come in and we'll put in the slicks for the end. It's going to dry. I went out. I ended up doing all of warm up on the dry setup with wets because it was just too wet, and I was just slow, just to top that off, So yeah, that was quite sad. But then luckily it dried up for the race, and I knew that would be fun and dry. I had a good dry bike, and we'd been there before, so everything was cool. Got off to a good start, whatever. Managed to get to the front, and then when Foggia came through, I knew that he had serious pace the last race. He was the guy that was catching Fanati until he crashed and that. So I was like, okay, I need to get in behind this guy because he's going to string this out now. And Messia managed to get between us, but I was just hanging on the back of Messia, and I was sitting there. I was pushing like hell to stay on the back of them. Like the pace was fast. I was comfortable, but it was like I was just hanging on the back. And Guevara managed to get himself past me down one of the straights, and then he crashed. And just from him crashing, broke this, like gave a little gap. And when it broke the slipstream, my bike is geared for slipstream. If I lose the slip, I'm screwed. It's in game over. I lose so much speed everywhere. Like I just can't do it. Obviously, the tires were definitely dropping a little bit too, so when he crashed and it made that little break, like at the beginning of the race, I could have maybe pulled it in on the brakes a little bit, but at that point I'd already been braking so late throughout the whole race, just like making up a little bit to stay on the back of them, that when it's that big gap like that, it's just asking too much to pull it all in to try get it back into the slip. And at the same time, throughout the race, when I was in that group sitting behind them, my bike was getting a little bit hot. So on the Moto3s, you run between like 65 degrees and 70 degrees, the temperature. And obviously they regulated with tape on the radiators and all that. But for the race, we had nothing. And unfortunately, my bike was running between like 85 and 95 throughout the race. And I mean, when you get up over 80, the power is just zero.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, it wasn't working in my favor. And I knew they were catching me. I was watching my board and I was doing what I could. I just was hoping that when they would catch me would be towards the end of the last lap so that I could still block them a little bit, or, I didn't think they'd be able to pass me at the last sector, but they caught me a lot quicker than what I expected, and they flew past me going down I don't know, not the full back straight, but the whatever straight from, I think it's turn 6 to 7 to 8 or whatever. So yeah, two of them came flying by, and I was like, oh no, here we go. And I couldn't get myself between them before the last sector because I knew I'd have one at the last corner at least. I was going to try two, but unfortunately, I just couldn't get close enough in that last corner to take a lunge at Acosta. But yeah, it really sucked. I was so bummed. I really wanted the podium. There's like in America, I really, really wanted the podium. That was a tough weekend for me. And then I finally get there in the race. And when they said that little 5-lap dash and I was starting 7th, I was like, okay, this is it. This is what I need. And then we got robbed of that one. So I really wanted to cheer, but it is what it is. Tried my best and still got 2 more chances.
I want to know, okay, age-old story. This is the Darryn Binder Moto3 story. You haul ass in the corners. get through to the front, and then you get to a straight, any straight more than like 300 meters, and like 7 people will, fly past you. I mean, I'm in Aragon. I was looking at some of the top speed stats. I mean, you were running similar pace to the front guys, but your bike, you were fourth last on the speed chart, 8 kilometers per hour down. I mean, you may as well be on a bicycle. Yeah, I mean, you should, come on, don't you just want to like punch someone sometimes when you work so hard and then you get 50 people to slipstream past you?
Yeah, it's super unfortunate this year. I've been really lucky that my team, obviously, they see it firsthand. They know exactly what's going on. So they've been super supportive to me. Like for Aragon, for instance, I came into the box and I was so upset. Like I qualified pole, and in the race, I just got eaten. And I came in and they were like, "Listen, there's nothing you could do. Like we could see you were trying, but there's only so much you could do." It's been unfortunate. Like this beginning of the year, it wasn't really that bad. Like Qatar, for instance, I could still, once I got in the slip, I'd still be able to make a couple passes and hang there and thereabout. And it was like that more or less up until mid-season where things, to me, changed. That's what I think. And for me, KTM made a step somehow, and their bikes have been quite fast. And I mean, if you look at Misano, it really shows, apart from the two blue bikes that are absolute rockets, the only other two Hondas in the points was myself, and Alcoba was down in 14th. So, yeah, we're definitely struggling there on some speed, and it's unfortunate. Okay, obviously a big part of my bike also plays into my weight and my size a little bit, but I'm so far over the weight limit. I'm not getting down there, so I can eat my salad and starve myself, but we're too far gone for that.
Isn't Acosta a similar size to you? Was he a bit smaller?
I don't know exactly what his weight is. I'm not sure. Size-wise, I think he's a little bit smaller than me. I know that I think rider and bike has to be 152 kilos combined. And when normally after like a session, if I go and do the check or whatever, I'm between like 8 to 10 kilos, depending on how much fuel we have in the bike. So like Misano, for instance, I walked into the box before the race. I'm just about to put on my helmet, and I said to my crew chief, I'm like, I'm going to ride through the pits to do 2 sighting laps before I get to the grid so I can just check out the dry, And he says to me, you haven't got enough fuel. He's worked it out. You've got minimum just to make it to the end of the race. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I can't do a sighting lap.
Okay, Daz, so we got 2 more questions for you, then we're going to let you go. Obviously, a lot of people are asking here, you've obviously met Dovi. Have you really had a chance to sit down and talk with him? Have you spoken to, you're in the same team as Rossi currently. Have you spoken to Rossi? Look, what kind of communication have you had within the team with going to MotoGP? And then just an add on to that question, so what side of the garage are you getting mechanic-wise now? Are you getting Rossi's crew? Are you getting Dovi's current crew? How's it happening?
So yeah, I've got to chat to Davi a little bit, especially this weekend in Misano. Just when we were doing all the photos and that, when he's standing around, we had like chatted a bit. He's a really nice guy, super friendly, and obviously he thinks that it's I can pull it off. He says it's going to be difficult in the beginning, but he seemed to think that I would be able to string it together, which was quite nice. I really, really liked that, and I hope that I can work quite closely with him in the box. Rossi, he's a man that you barely ever see, even though we're in the same team. To be honest, I don't see him very often. And when I do, I just say hello and nothing more, I haven't ever got a chance to really chat to him about the racing side of things. But for my team, things are changing up in the team. Rossi's leaving with his crew as far as I understand. Davi will be staying as he is right now. So from what I understand is my crew will be completely different. Things are still under, I don't know how to explain it, but still happening. So yeah, the first time I'll know exactly what everything's going on will be the first test in Jerez. But obviously on that side of things, Wilco's in charge of that. He's the team, the man in charge there for that side of things. And, I've just said to him, look, I believe that you know what you guys are doing. You have more experience. I just want people that have experience that can teach me and show me the way, and that I can learn from. And so, yeah, I'm sure that they'll put everyone together and put everything right for me.
There's a guy named Steve Berry. He's annoying. Because what happens is Rob and I will say stuff, and we're trying to sound all knowledgeable, and then he'll come along and say, well, actually. Anyway, he asked a good question, which is annoying. Is like, can't Valet just like send you to the Raj? What is that race to do? You're a Yamaha rider. You're all in the same team. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. Yeah, I know that at some point during the year, they actually mentioned that the team was going to go through to the ranch and everybody was going to ride and whatnot, but nothing ever came of it. So, yeah, I don't know how that stuff all works, but I wouldn't mind. Although they normally do that race over December, and that's when I like to go home.
And that's when you are going to come home. We can't wait to see you. Daz, absolute last question. Fabio Quartararo, came into World Championship, was the next Marc Marquez, didn't really pull through in Moto3, didn't really shine in Moto2, had one or two good rides, a big gamble from the team, from Razlan and the whole team to put him on that MotoGP bike. We were all going, but how can this be? 3 years and the guy's MotoGP World Champion in a factory team. Do you now look at that? And I loved Razlan in that independent team conference that they had, where he said, we've got the perfect blend for next year. We've always liked to have young and up-and-coming star and an experienced rider. And if you think about it, it's a very good way, because a guy like Dovi coming back after a year needs to reinvent the wheel in a way. So he needs to look at your riding style and your data maybe a little bit and go, okay, that's what I need to do to change, to stay with these young guns. And you need to look at his experience and go, okay, well, maybe that's what I need to do. Do you look at the Fabio situation and you look at the team going, well, this is where Fabio 3 years ago started, and here he's world champion. That's got to fill you with confidence.
100%. I mean, that was the whole plan behind coming to Petronas in the first place. Obviously I wanted to go to Moto2 already this year, and then came along the offer to go to Petronas Moto3, which I took in the long run because I wanted to do those steps up to their MotoGP program, and that was their plan. They wanted to take me all the way, and in the end, that's what's happened. It's a few things changed along the way, and I've skipped a class, but yeah, that was the whole plan behind everything. So yeah, and I mean, obviously, I look at what he's done, and I think it's amazing. And at the same time, I look back and think I've raced against a lot of the guys that are in MotoGP now, and at the end of the day, MotoGP is now full of the young guns, and I believe that I can race against them. So yeah, I think it's going to take some time stepping straight up to get like comfortable in that. But I'm quite positive that I'm doing it on one of the best bikes possible. So that can definitely benefit me. I've got a really good teammate that's going to be next to me in the box. And yeah, I think that this is a great opportunity, and I'm really hoping for the best.
I'm trying. I want to act cool and serious like this, but my smile just keeps doing it, Darren. Like I just keep going. But then we're so excited. I promise you, for the last 4 months since the rumor came out, everywhere I go, I'll be standing at Woolies in a queue, and I'll get a tap on the shoulder. Hey Rob, is Darren going to MotoGP? Well, who are you? Like, second of all, it's COVID. Like, social distancing. I don't know. I just don't know. I think he is, but I don't know. Like, it got frustrating for me because I kind of did know, then I didn't know. Then you hear the rumors, anything. But anyway, Daz, we also everyone down here is just going, we can't believe how proud we are of you. We're going to support you no matter what. But when you're in the gravel, when you're having a tough day, we support you. When we support you, and just know that you've always got that support. I remember a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, I remember Trevor I'm sick of this oak. He doesn't listen. He just takes people out. He's coming home. Come work with me. He's coming home. It's finished. It's not happening anymore. And I think, calmed him down, 24-hour rule, maybe Brad or something. He said, okay, let's give this guy one more chance. and here you are going to MotoGP. Please tell me when you phoned your dad and said, listen, Dad, I'm probably going to MotoGP. Please tell me your dad cried. Please.
Yeah, I don't know. But I'll tell you what, obviously there was I said to him a few times, Dad, there's this possibility is looking real, and he getting all excited. And, then it obviously took longer and longer and longer. And I think eventually now on the weekend, he couldn't wait for Thursday. I think it was eating him up inside. So, yeah, I can't thank my whole family enough. Jeez, I would definitely not be here without them. And yeah, finally, my parents are actually getting to come over to Valencia. So it's going to be nice. And they've never even seen Brad race a MotoGP bike. So
yeah,
that'll be a first time for them. And then we'll head off to Jerez where they'll get to see me ride the GP bike for the first time too. So got a lot of nice things coming up, and I'm really looking forward to it. And then I get to come home, the best part of the best.
And ride a pimped out R1. I saw your dad at Kalami yesterday on his orange bike with blue and white leathers. But anyway, he's got the Darryn Binder poker face. Like, he just, every time we mention it, he just had that smile. So yeah, it's awesome. Well done to you, Brad, Sharon, Trevor. Thank you so much for everything you guys do. We really appreciate it. We support you no matter. Daz, we will be seeing you. Hopefully, I think it's the 11th of December. We're waiting for Brad to confirm the time. We'll do our meet and greet at Ridgeway Race Bar. Darryn, Brad, Brent Harron, Bjorn Esmond, Stephen Urendal, they've all made the time to do this event, to not only be with the fans, but to help me and my family, and a fundraiser for Nova to help, pay for the medical costs she's got. So from that side, I can't wait. Keep a look out on Motor Rider World. We'll announce it as soon as we get that final date. But it's looking like Saturday, the 11th of December at Ridgeway Race Bar. We got Darren's going to give me 45 sets of boots, 14 helmets, 4 pairs of. You know what's happening? I'm going to see Darryn next weekend in Portimao, and I'm coming with 2 empty bags, me and my brother. And Muris are big bags, I can tell you that right now. And South African is part of the Red Bull Factory KTM team. So I'm literally taking Brad's undies, tissues.
Like, you might not want to touch his socks, but those things will stink.
No. We won't go socks. We've got undies and tissues and that. So yeah, anyway, exciting times. Keep a look at Darryn. Again, thank you so much, man, for taking the time up to do this. And yeah, we are all behind you. We are so proud of you. And yeah, can't wait to see you on a MotoGP bike, man.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. And thanks to everyone who joined in and all the support. Yeah, it's going to be a crazy road ahead, and I'm looking forward to it. And thanks to everyone who's been a part of it along the way.
You're beautiful, man. Thanks very much. Go and enjoy your
guys.
stuff,
Catch you later.
Ciao, bro.
Cheers.
Right, and now everybody's switching off.
Yeah. Now, do we even bother? Like, do we even bother?
No, it's like, well, we'll take a short one. The figures have gone like down to 3, and there are people who've forgotten to turn it off.
But how cool is that?
Yeah.
Darryn Binder in MotoGP. I mean, it's just written in the stars. Like, people were asking about Alicia Spargra and asked Darryn about the critics. You don't want to put Darryn in that situation, having to mention Simon Big Face Patterson and Alicia Moron Espargaro. Who cares what they say? I don't care. The fact is, the guy's in MotoGP. He's got the skill. If a guy like Simon Crayfar and Adovi and them say, you know what, this guy will be fine. This guy will be fine.
Okay, Mr. Patterson, I mean, I read his story. It just reeked of someone who was hoping Jake Dixon was going. You know what I mean? That's all it did. It reeked of some guy who's a mediocre rider at best, who's had all the opportunities in the world and is sort of not going anywhere. And the whole sort of premise of the story was, well, Jake should go because he's ridden a MotoGP bike twice. It's like, what? Okay, so hang on. There's that Nagasuka, or whatever his name is, the Japanese test rider, 40 years old. He's ridden it away more. So surely he should then get it. It's just, what is the logic here? He's ridden it twice, and therefore, yeah. It's like, no, dude, no. And also, I mean, what people don't understand, these teams when they hire someone. And I did, as I said, I didn't want to mention Patterson and Elation, all that to Darren, but I said when he went with Wilco and everybody and he was on the plane with them, that is probably the best thing that could ever happen, is because they spend, like Simon Crayfall, you spend time with him and you realize, this long-haired hippie isn't,
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
He's got his brain on him. And they see the way he rides. They see his bike is way down on the timesheets. They know he's too heavy. They know all of this. I mean, the same thing happened with Quartararo. Remember, he got signed into a MotoGP ride when he was like he was a mid-pack Moto2 rider. I think he won one race. He was a mid-pack Moto2, and like halfway through the year, Quartararo signed for MotoGP. They were like, what? It's because the teams know. They can see behind the scenes. They know exactly what's going on. And it's more than that. I mean, like Brad getting a 4-year deal at KTM. And a lot of that is down to the fact that he's Brad.
Exactly.
And the way he interacts with the team, the way he does everything. And Darren's much the same. He's going to be, he and Dovey, two chilled out, easygoing guys, are going to end up in that pit. It's going to be brilliant.
I honestly can't wait. Before we carry on talking MotoGP Misano, people are asking about the fundraiser event. So basically, the last 4 or 5 years, I think 2016 when Brad won his world title was the first time we did a meet and greet event out at Ridgeway Race Bar. My daughter wasn't born yet. My daughter was born, how old's Nova now? She's 3 years old, my beautiful baby girl. She was born with Down syndrome, had holes in her heart, blah, sad story, but we've got this beautiful girl. Anyway, we did a fundraiser event because it was open heart surgery, and that cost a lot of money. Brad and Darren have always been, all the South African riders have always been behind me. Raised a lot of money, had her surgery. She's 3 years old now. She's the most beautiful creation ever. But obviously on top of that, she needs a lot of therapy and there's a lot of costs involved. So, every year the guys say to me, what date are we doing, Uncle Rob? Or let me know what date. They bring back some boots, gloves, vases, knee starters, whatever they can, and we auction the stuff off on the night to raise money. 2 years ago, we raised over 250,000 Rand. A signed Rossi cap went for 8,000 Rand. Darryn Binder's crashed Moto3 fairing went for 20,000 Rand. So, we raised a lot of money, and we're going to do the same this year. At the moment, like I said, it's Saturday, the 11th of December, but I'm waiting for final confirmation from it's really Brad. Daz comes back to South Africa, I think the 25th of November or something, so he'll be here. But we're waiting for Daz, and then we'll have Darryn Binder, Brad Binder, Stephen Oudendaal's going to be back. He's going to give us some boots and gloves and whatever. Bjorn Esmond, Brent Herron, Dino Ayotso, whatever South African riders we can get that have raced overseas, we'll get them there. So keep a lookout on the Motor Rider World page. We'll post everything on there. It's all for a good cause. There'll be a small entry fee to get in. Nothing major, because we want to try and get as many people as we possibly can in. If any entry fee, we're still kind of deciding that from the day one. He doesn't want people to pay to meet him. But there's more to it than just that. It's not really just to steal people's money. It's, there's other things to it. So anyway, keep a lookout for that. It's an awesome event. You get to go face to face with the guys. You can buy Brad's and Darren's official apparel on the night. They sign the stuff for you. It's just really an incredible. I said we get a lot of really cool stuff to auction out. Don, Zoe Bosch very well. I sent her a message. She is basically like the assistant to Pit Byra almost in the factory KTM Red Bull team. Like, she's like the real deal. And I messaged her and I said, listen, can you get stuff? Yeah, sure. No, she knows the event. She's been there. And shame, she's bent over backwards for this event and I'm going with a couple of mates to Portimao next weekend, and she really has just bent over backwards. So keep a lookout for the event, Saturday, 11th of December, but keep a lookout on Motor Rider World. We'll confirm that as soon as possible. Don, there was a MotoGP race on the weekend. We've spoken about Fabio, we've spoken about Mark, and then let's quickly talk about Enea Bastianini. 4 laps into that race, Enea Bastianini was behind Brad Binder, and he finished 3rd.
Look, that bike seems to work. I was watching the times. he goes faster as the race goes on. He started the race doing 33s, like Brad, and he was sort of similar to Brad, similar to most people, 33s. It was only the real front guys, mostly Pecco and Marquez, doing 32s. And as the race went on, he went faster and faster and faster. So it's not just that everyone else went slower. He actually went faster. And by the end of it, I think he was the fastest rider on the track.
Yeah.
Right at the end.
Yeah.
And it's what? I mean, how? How do you go faster? How? You know what I mean? Everybody else is starting to slow down. Tires are starting to go off, and he's going faster. fly on an old bike. But I mean, okay, a lot of it is Misano. Yeah, I mean, it's the guys know that track backwards. You saw Luca Marini did very well also. Rossi overtook Brad on the last lap, like second last.
No, Brad let him pass. We're going to stick with that. Brad let him pass. We're going to stick with that.
You know what? I was watching Word Fired Up, and everyone was watching the screen, and I had the live timing on my phone in front of me, and I kept saying, I'm sitting there looking at this. I'm going, guys, Rossi's going to overtake Brad. And everyone was like, oh, no, no. Guys, Rossi's going to overtake Brad. No. Guys, I'm watching it here. Rossi is going to overtake Brad. And sure enough, as they cross the line, Rossi in front of Brad. I said, told you. Okay, but no, he got a top 10. Good for him. I mean, I think for Brad, 10th or 11th isn't, you know what I mean? I don't think he's going to make him cry about it that much. But yeah, top 10 for him. Come on, Pecco. Why'd you fall off? Come on, buddy.
No, I know, let's touching on the Brad subject. There's a big problem for Brad, Darryn, Quartararo, all these guys next year is that Ducati are taking over MotoGP and they've got proper riders on their bikes now. You think next year, Jack Miller, Pecco Bagnaia, Jorge Martin, Zarco, Bastianini, Marini started to show a little bit of glimpse of something. You find yourself now, and this is where my worry about Brad and KTM is just, things haven't looked good the last couple of races. Miguel was showing a little glimpse of hope, and he was like, yeah, and then he crashed. Brad crashing on a warm-up, long lap penalty, it just wasn't his weekend, but, Brad did the sensible thing, and this is why KTM loved Brad so much. His back was against the wall, throw the bike in the scenery and cost the team hundreds of thousands of euro. Bad situation, he brought the bike home in 11th or whatever it was. Championship points, which the team, I think, get, a bit of money for and everything, brought the bike back home in one piece. Okay, he crashed in practice and everything, but his back was against the wall, the shit was hitting the fan, and he brought the bike home. But, yeah, I don't know. I was speaking to Trevor about it yesterday as well. There's got to be a solution here now because they've got to hit the ground running next year. They cannot do this, wait 4 or 5 races and then start finding something and then lose it again and then find something. The Ducati are raising the bar. Suzuki have always kind of been consistent. Yamaha with the Quartararo have raised the bar. Now they've gone with youth, with Darryn Binder. They've gone with a bit of experience with Dovi. They've got Morbidelli. KTM can't afford to have this inconsistent bike with tires. Whatever it is, if it's a Michelin problem, fix it. If it's your trellis frame, fix it. If it's your WP suspension, fix it, because you're running out of time now and you're wasting. I don't say you're wasting Brad and Miguel Oliveira's time, but you are in a way. And you've got a Raul Fernandez that if you want to keep him, because he's going to be sensationally fast, and I think he's going to bring some extra flavor. I'm glad that he's coming because I think he might solve 1 or 2 problems. I'm hoping. But there's going to have to be this massive step from KTM.
Okay, I think a lot of it, they were on the back foot beginning of this year when the hard tire was taken away and they were given soft ones. Remember, they were struggling. They couldn't get this tire to work. If Michelin don't make any surprises, I think KTM will be better. The whole engine characteristic, everything's going to change. Remember, they weren't allowed to change motors. Now they are. They're allowed to put, they had to use the same motors as the year previous, with the whole COVID thing.
But how much do you find in the motor? How much do you find, you know what I mean?
Well, no, lots. I mean, the whole balance of the motorcycle resides in the motor. The size of the motor, the positioning of the motor, the rotating inertia, all of that makes a huge difference. I mean, Honda's biggest problem has always been the motor. I mean, Marquez keeps losing the front and falling down. It wasn't the chassis, it was the motor. Rossi, remember Ducati, and he couldn't get the thing to turn. And remember, they turned that entire motorcycle upside down, changed absolutely everything except the motor. And then when Gigi took over and they said, what the hell is this thing? Yeah. It was just way too big, way too long. And as soon as they changed the motor, the bike worked. Remember Dovi saying the first time they had a smaller, more compact motor, he said he turned into the first corner, he nearly went on the grass on the inside. So, I think that's going to make a difference. And, I mean, if Michelin don't change anything and everybody knows, okay, these are the tires, we need to work around these. But if Michelin arrive and say, hey, guess what, guys, we've got a new, everyone's going to go, oh, no. Yeah. Well, I think Michelin should just bring back the hard. I mean, as I say, the whole year they've used the soft once, and it's because it was damp. It's the only time anyone's ever used the soft. So scrap that soft, make the current medium a soft, make the hard a medium, and bring a harder tire. Simple.
Yeah, but then in a situation like this weekend where, KTM, yes, when we can use the hard front, all is lacquer. But when we can't use the hard front, which there's been more often than not this season, actually, that's what they've got to sort out. You know what I mean? They've got this in between. They've got cuck and good. There's no in between.
Well, no, I mean, for a lot of now the Northern Hemisphere summer races, everyone was on the hard. And when Yamaha and the likes of Yamaha and Ducati are using a hard, you just know people like Honda and KTM are going, well, they need a hard front. So, but nobody used the soft, no one. So what will happen is that if it is a weekend like this one, Brad and them will just be forced to use the soft, which would have been like this year's hot medium, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
I just think, if they haven't used a soft front tire once, then what's the point? Rather give a harder tire and shift the whole thing up once. I want to talk about two people quickly, if that's okay. We're getting on a bit. Joan Mir. Okay, first of all, the worst title defense ever, but okay. Anyway, that's something else. I think Joan Mir is becoming a problem, and I'll tell you why.
Himself,
yeah, because Jack Miller wanted to Blixen him last race. He got rammed twice by Joan Mir, and then at Qatar, same thing, got rammed by Joan Mir. But I mean, it's not like Jean's trying for an overtaking maneuver and it overdoes it and it bumps and no, it's like can't get past Jack, so I'm just going to ram him. So he goes in like this, bumps him, taps him, pushes him wide. And now in this race, now in Misano, he took out Danilo Petrucci. Okay, Danilo was nice about it, and everybody's going, oh, look at that, so sweet, and they hugged. Joan Mir took out Danilo Petrucci after nearly getting Blixen by Jack Miller for bumping into him the whole time. If that were Darryn, he would have got like a 3-race ban, but it's Joan Mir, so no, we're just going to, we didn't see anything.
Yep.
I mean, I'm going to sit him down and say, look, you can't ram into people, back of the grid, whatever.
I agree with you. I think, we were talking about Marquez looking desperate at some stages this year. Joan Mir's got to that desperate stage. Suzuki have got to the stage where, I forgot Mir and Rins were even at that weekend. Never mind in the race.
Yeah, sorry, Misano, the first Misano, he rammed Jack Miller wide again. Remember that?
Yeah. But they're these outcasts now, and it's like, oh yeah, geez, there's Suzuki and Mir's world champion. God, you keep forgetting that. And I think it's desperation stuff from Joan Mir, but I think Dorna do need to rein him in, because this is my other problem. My brother actually commented it on. We watched Moto2. So Remy Gardner takes out that Japanese guy, Chantra or whatever. Cool. Race direction, wait a while, then they decide give him a long lap penalty. But in a situation like that, that long lap penalty didn't really cost Gardner. The penalty needs to hurt you. So in that situation, Gardner took a long lap penalty, but he didn't lose the position. He lost time, fair enough, but he didn't lose the position and he stayed the same. Now, in the World Championship context, that's a big thing. In that situation, Dorna should go, right, no long lap penalty. You've got to lose a position. That means you've got to go down the straight and wait for the guy behind you because you're 6 seconds ahead of him. Now, that's a penalty. Doing a long lap penalty and not losing a position is not a penalty. You know what I mean? The long lap penalty, I agree with you in a lot of stages, but in that situation, so you get a long lap penalty when you're 10 seconds ahead of the next guy. Cool, I'll take my long lap penalty. Fine, I'll exceed track limits because I've got 10 seconds on the guy behind me. No, you need to be penalized, which means, cool, in this situation where the next guy's 10 seconds behind you, you've got to drop a position, not a long lap penalty.
Well, the other person I actually want to speak to was Remy Gardner. Okay, he took out that Chantra, whatever his name is. But okay, here's my thing. Okay, so people are like, ooh, okay. Every rider makes mistakes sometime through there. I mean, they'll race for 20 years. Every rider is going to make a mistake. I think, Rob, you've taken someone out before. I've done it. Yeah. It wasn't cool. We didn't mean to. We just completely misjudged it, and it happens. So I don't know. I think with Remy, the long lap penalty was about right. Because the dude made a mistake. However, as far as I know, he has not got a reputation for taking people out. With Mir, I mean, we're already up to 4. 4 different incidents that I know of. Maybe there's been more we haven't seen. 4. That's where you're kind of going, hang on a second, that's a bit much. I mean, there was the whole Marquez thing. People saying, but Rossi's also done. Yeah, but Rossi did less maneuvers like Marquez did in double the amount of time. You know, so you see riders get like a reputation, and I just think when a rider keeps doing it over and over again, someone's got to sit him down and say, hey, listen, do you want to race next race? Don't do that again. You know, properly, as you say, a real penalty. Mr. Mir, bum someone off again, you're going to get a one race ban. You know what I mean? And they'll listen. You'll listen to that. You'll definitely listen to that. So the other one is Remy Gardner. Now, this is weird, okay? Sorry, I'm going to digress into the philosophical here. So it's Remy Gardner versus, what's that kid's name? Not Pedro.
Raul Fernandez.
Raul Fernandez. So, okay, this is sort of, you know, Rossi didn't kick a rider off Reino Albes. Anyway.
He did, Don. He did. Rossi kicked Marquez off, man.
He didn't. No, Rossi had a rider ramming into his fairing and used his foot that was squashed between them to shove him away.
There's no rule against racing with a rider on track. There's a rule of kicking a guy in the head off his motorbike.
Kick anybody. He didn't kick anyone. It's like the whole entire paddock says he didn't kick him.
No, he did. I think in 5 years' time, when Rossi's calmed down, had his kid and he's lying on the beach, a press release will come out and say, I did kick him.
No, he didn't kick him. He didn't kick him. He wasn't even looking where he was going. He was looking down the straight. You know what I mean? Anyway, but okay, so you got Remy Gardner versus Raul Fernandez. Raul Fernandez has been phenomenal, and he's winning. So we should go, okay, it's a meritocracy. So therefore, we should all be going, well done, Raul, well done, Raul. And yet, I want Remy to win. Even though I don't think he's as good, as Raul. I want Remy to win. I want him to win. It's like, come on, dude, come on. And I mean, there's a moment where when you saw Raul tumbling through the gravel trap, there was a moment where I kind of went, you know, and I felt bad about it immediately. But I was like, okay, but all right, he's getting up, he's fine. Yes! It's a good crash there, though. Wow. I mean, well done, you know. And the dude gets up and walks away. I kid you not, I would have buried myself right there. I would have been lying in the gravel. I would have sort of just, Marshall, give me a hand here. Dig here. I'm just going to, and then put the sand over me. I'm dead. That was proper.
Listen, it was a fast one. I mean, that really was a fast one. But like you said, I don't know what it is, but it's not. I don't want to say it's nothing against Spaniards, but it is kind of a way. But when anyone other than a Spaniard wins a world title, you do want to go. So in Remy Gardner's case, you like, you know, Raul Fernandez has got, because of his talent and because of the hard work and everything, take nothing away from him, but you know, he's got his future planned for him. You know, he's going to be this next superstar that's going to be looked after because he's Spanish. You know, Remy, you know, I watched that documentary. You know, his family moved from Australia. Yeah, sure, he's got Wayne Gardner as a dad, and that helps and that gives perks. But he still did the whole CRV Moto2 thing, won there, came into World Champions. I mean, did you watch that documentary? He's like, he takes us into his room. Well, this is my room. And I'm like, that's your room. You've got a single bed with the worst sheets and covers I've ever seen in my life. Your trophy's on this shelf that, you know, I could see he put up himself. That's about to fall down. Cock posters, like this real 5-year-old or 6-year-old's bedroom. Actually, my kid's bedroom is better looking than it. And this is this Moto2 superstar going into MotoGP with this cock room. It's like, do you take girls back there? You know, honestly do that. So I like the underdog story with, like you said, you go Remy because of the whole story behind it. But yeah, look, that Raul Fernandez is something. Let me tell you that I think, and that's what I was saying, I think he's going to come into KTM, and I think he's going to whine. I think he's going to whine about a lot of things, and KTM are going to have to pull their socks up because now they've got this youngster that they're going to try and hold on to.
He's 1 year younger than Quartararo, by the way.
Yeah. You know,
I thought he was like 16. No, he's 21. It's like,
No, it's funny. He's been there. People forget he made his debut 3 years ago as a wild card in Moto3. He didn't really do anything. I remember Sachsenring, he came, didn't really do anything. You know, he only started shining this year. Last year, Darryn was beating him in Moto3. He had a good ride. He had the odd shine, did well in qualifying, led races, but then faded. It was only this year, and it was a big chance that Akiayo took and went, well, we've got a spot to fill last minute in our Moto2 team. Let's take Raul Fernandez. He's grown over the winter. Put him in there. And it worked out. Listen, that's basically what happened. But he's going to be fast, and I think he's going to be on a Repsol Honda. I think he'll do one season on a KTM and be in Repsol Honda, to be honest. I think Repsol Honda are going to break the bank for him because he is the next mark. He's broken the mark records in Moto2 and that. But I was, going back to MotoGP, we're not really talking about the Misano race, but looking at it next year, that field of Moto, I mean, we've got pretty much almost 8 factory Ducatis on the grid, just about. I mean, the worst Ducati is going to be the bike from this year that's finished second in the World Championship, I think.
Yeah, I know. But we'll see. I mean, things are going to change. Because I say this year they're all using the same motors. I think next year you're going to see some really big changes, proper big changes, because they've had 2 years of development now. We're going to see 2 years thrown into one motorcycle. So I think next year it's going to change quite a lot. But yeah, we'll see. Remy, also don't forget. I mean, he had Wayne Gardner as a father, which, as you say, helps. But he's still, like the Binders and like other Australians, he arrived in Europe with his kit bag.
Yeah.
And went, hello, which way? Sorry, which way do I go? Over there? Which track is this? Which way does pit lane go? Which way? So he's still same thing. He went through the same crap that the Binders went through. I think the only thing is people went, oh, he's a Gardner. Oh, Wayne. And that's about it. He went through the same crap. And that's kind of part of it. You kind of, you look at Raul and you kind of go, okay, but, he is fast. He's damn fast. But he has had a red carpet treatment since he was like 8 years old, which is all the Spaniards do. I mean, they get red carpet. They find the best riders. They give them red carpet treatments. And it's like, I don't know, it's like a football prodigal being born in England and being born in South Africa, for example. You know what I mean? In England, you get, my computer's may do funny things. In England, you get spotted, and you end up getting in some sort of a academy, and you get guided. In South Africa, it's just your dad and you and your dad in a field kicking towards a tree. You know what I mean? There's a difference. And I mean, it's a lot tougher to come from countries like South Africa, Australia, even America, to some extent, even England. It's tough. It's tough. You don't get the red carpet treatment at the Europe, especially the Spaniards. I mean, if you're a talented Spaniard, that's it. You're made. You're fine. Everything's done. You know what I mean? Everything's paid for. You have all the coaches in the world. You have all the training in the world. It's done. So it's just, it's like Remy is an underdog. I'll get it right eventually, even though he's been there longer, even though, and this is the first time Remy's had a good bike. First time. Last year, remember, he was on a second-hand Calyx or something like that. So, I don't know. I want the underdog to win. I want Remy to win. Don't know if he will, but I want him to.
Yeah, it's gonna be close. Look, it's exciting that it's going close, but yeah, Remy's just got to finish second, basically, and he can do that. So, speaking of this red carpet,
now he finished like 7th. So
yeah, he can. Speaking of this red carpet treatment, we'll end it off here because it's over an hour now, and we've done very well. Darryn Binder ruined our show. He really did. Just stole the spotlight, the bastard. Speaking about the red carpet treatment, a lot of people commenting here about this Pedro Acosta. We saw him come out the gates firing on all cylinders. And then the commentators mentioned a stat that I actually didn't know. Like, he hasn't won a race since the Austria round or something. And we've actually seen a couple of hiccups lately in that. And I've seen the stature of Pedro Acosta change a bit. He's come out, he bitched about his teammate Masia not letting him. I've seen this like little spoiled brat come out the last couple of rounds. Is he as good as they say? Is he, or was he lucky at the beginning of the year while everyone was sorting themselves out? Now that everyone's sorted themselves out, Foggia was nowhere at the beginning of the year, and you can't stop the guy now. So this Pedro Acosta, I'm looking at going, well, Akiayo, I think, is going to have to pull in the reins there a little bit because he's losing the plot a little bit, becoming the spoiled brat that I'm going, I was a Costa fan, and I still am. I think he's going to climb on a Moto2 bike. Very Raul Fernandez kind of racing style, stature. I think he's going to go well. But it's the attitude that he's losing in my mind.
Well, okay, 2 things. He's 16. And so a lot of it is just experience. You know what I mean? It's experience. He's got a lot of experience because he's been riding since he could walk. I'm sure of it. I don't know the actual facts, but I'm pretty sure he's been riding since he could walk. And as I say, he's probably had the red carpet treatment since he was 8. But he's still 16. So, your brain... Do you remember being 16? Do you remember how stupid you were?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm stupid now, but when I was 16, wow, that was like another level of stupid. So there's that. But also, people tend to forget that MotoGP, the competitiveness of the MotoGP field is not static. So, and people keep saying things like, well, this bike did well in the beginning. Why is it now slow? Why has it suddenly gone slow? No, it hasn't gone slow. It has pretty much. My computer's doing weird things. My mouse is broken, so it keeps splitting it. Anyway, sorry. No, keep in mind that, it's not that this bike suddenly got slow. It's everybody else got faster. So you find the teams are constantly working, constantly trying new paths, constantly trying new settings. And it changes, and different riders find things that make them faster, do things that make them faster, and different parts of all of that. So, yeah, remember, people like Foggia, they've been working, they've been trying different things, and they found stuff they liked they didn't have at the beginning of the year. It's possible that Acosta arrived, had a bike he liked, had a bike he got on with. And, they call him a rookie. He is a rookie. A lot of the tracks he's never ridden on. But then again, he's been riding for a long time on a Moto3 bike, on a competitive Moto3 bike. And it's possible he arrived with everything kind of working already. He had a bike he really liked, he had a bike, all of that. And then as the year goes on, it changes. Maybe they're not moving forward. Maybe they're not finding things that help him, whereas everyone else is. And so everyone else gets faster. You stay the same. Sometimes people even go backwards, They get lost with their settings, try completely different things, and it doesn't work. And also, I think Pedro, as he matures, he will learn how to kind of cope with all this sort of stuff, learn how to kind of deal with it all, and it will get better. So I think that kind of happened. But maybe he's not the sort of, the sort of the future prodigy or whatever it's called. Maybe he was lucky. He arrived with a bike that worked really well, where everything worked well, and everyone else was having problems. It's possible. So who knows? We'll see Moto2 next year. It sucks. Then we know.
Yeah. Then we know. Then we were right. But it amazes me at the moment. Carlos Ferraz says, credit to Foggia. It's not a case of really that Acosta's gone backwards. In the case of Foggia, he's just gone forward. What's crazy to
me, apparently he's now 17. He started, he was 16. Anyway.
Yeah.
17, you're still stupid. Anyway.
Yeah, 17. With a new age limit, he's not allowed being there in 2 years' time, and that's another talking point for another day. But getting back to Acosta, we've seen it in the past. Remember Manuel Poggiali? Derby GP 1251 was the next greatest thing. Went straight to 250s. One was the next great thing. Fell off the end of the earth. Yeah, he was the next. He was going to destroy Rossi. Fell off the end of the earth. Marco Melandri, to an extent, he went into MotoGP, did one or two great things, went into World Superbikes, never won a title in MotoGP, never won a title in World Superbikes. And he was going to be the next best thing. He was 15. He was Velkom Pekisa. He was 15 years old when he came in.
Yeah, he was 18 and won a 250 title, if I remember correctly, which was the youngest ever. And right now he's working as a riding coach at Ducati. He's teaching rich people how to ride Panigales.
That's exactly what he's doing. So look at, Acosta can go one of two ways, and we've seen it before. He's either going to shine and be the next Marc Marquez. And I think for Acosta, what he's got in his favor is that he's in Aki Ayo's team. And Aki Ayo does not take nonsense. He manages riders. He manages a team. He represents massive companies like Red Bull and KTM. He will quickly rein that kid in. He's got away with a little bit now, but I think Aki, like you, will go, okay, listen, it's your first season. We didn't expect this. We'll give you a little bit of leeway. But next year when you're in Moto2, we've got to pull it in a little bit. So I think he's got that in his favor. The Moto3 title still up for grabs, Moto2 title still up for grabs. So that's really exciting, the last two rounds. MotoGP is done and dusted. But one question I wanted to ask, Daz, Reino actually asked it, was to talk about Portimao, because that's the next race. Portimao is that race meeting where you go now. It's been a big question mark the whole year. You can't predict races. But Portimao, you go, sorry, like who is going to do what there?
I have no idea. Because here's one of the things, it's going to be freezing cold. And so stuff's going to change. And I got to be honest with you, we're all very excited that we went to Portimao and MotoGP rode there, and it's the roller coaster, and it's great and everything. Generally, the racing there is a bit crap.
Oh, yeah.
It's crap.
Yeah.
It's actually not a great circuit. It's difficult. It's finicky. It's easy to make mistakes. It's difficult to get a setup on. It's a difficult circuit. And the problem with difficult circuits is they don't create good racing. I mean, it might be fun to ride, it might be spectacular to look at, but that's fun for 3 laps, and then you kind of go, okay, what else is on? Yeah, Stephen Berry, Neil McKenzie's son YouTube video about life of bike. Yeah. By the way, Yamaha have won everything.
Yes, they're just waiting for Top Rack. Yeah, they're just waiting for Top
Rack. What a loser! They've won MotoGP, they've won British Superbikes, they've won American Moto America, they won the Japanese Championship, and other stuff. You know,
and World Superbikes and World Supersport.
And World Supersport, yes. That Goethe guy.
Yeah, the Swiss cheese guy. Yeah, the Swiss cheese guy. Yeah, no, and Yamaha R1 has done it in World Superbike with no wings on it, cross-plane motor, that old R1 from years ago, just with new fairings and stuff. And it just shows you, you don't need wings and tech and this and this. You need a good rider on a good platform, and off you go. Don, we're going to leave it there, and I'm going to end off with this, and I can't argue with this guy. Marco had a terrible discussion to him in the pits.
Did you notice the height difference? Okay, so now hang on, wait. Very specific height difference. So we had Marco Melandri, who's quite a short lad, and we had his girlfriend who was about that tall.
Very high.
And generally, when Marco stood directly in front of his view was kind of very
obscured,
specific. It wasn't necessarily eye contact, if you know what I
mean. Marco was one of those guys that had so many friends, but were they really your friend? It's like when you had your friend at school and you had a hot sister. Like, cool, I'll be your friend so I can come play at your house and look at your sister. You know what I mean? That's what you did. Lynn Baines, Rob COVID cough. No, I hope not, because I'm going to Portimao this next weekend. So
such an idiot. Seriously, I hope the plane explodes. Bastard.
And we literally decided it yesterday. Like, a couple of us decided, you know what? Because Misano opened up, there were all these spectators and stuff, and we were like, okay, well, clearly it's opened up. We've got double jabs. Let's try and make it happen, and then it happened. So yeah, I cannot wait. I really cannot wait. Brendan Mark Bank, I think I said that right. We will confirm the dates hopefully in the next week, but you can pretty much pencil in guaranteed between Saturday the 11th of December and Wednesday the 15th of December. It'll be any date between there. So guaranteed we'll have the meet and greet at Ridgeway Race Bar in Greenstone. We'll definitely have it there. So yeah, keep a lookout on the Motor Rider World page for that. We'll have final confirmation. Definitely the event of the year. We haven't had the guys for 2 years. We'll sit down, talk to them, and just rob them blind for autographs and whatever stuff we can get from them. So yeah, Don, 2 weeks' time is the next race. I won't be talking Monday night. I'm flying back Tuesday, so hopefully Tuesday night we can talk. Otherwise, we'll leave it Wednesday night. Or we'll have to either leave it Wednesday night or either Sunday night. We can maybe do a special Talking MotoGP live from Portimao or something.
Yeah. You're the boss. You tell me what we're doing. Let's do that.
That'll be cool, and I'll try and drag as many guys as I can there, and we can do it live. Don, thanks so much for joining. Thank you to everyone for tuning in, and it was awesome to have Daz. It was phenomenal. It was awesome to hear that insight. It must have been so hard, for so long having to bite your tongue and not say anything.
Can you imagine if Top Rack had actually gotten it? And he's been sitting there biting his tongue, thinking it's all cool. It's all cool. Oh, by the way, Darryn, look, Top Racks. I will say part of the reason I think Top Rack wouldn't take. I mean, Simon Patterson, Top Rack. Why not Top Rack? Because Darren's will be on a second-hand motorcycle, and something they've all kind of said. All of them have said, remember Johnny Ray said at Top Rack said that he wants to be on the top machinery. He's not arriving in MotoGP to be some appy or something. So, yeah, I think even if they did offer Top Rack the ride, and I don't know if they did, I don't think he would have taken it.
No, I don't blame him either. Look, this situation for Darryn, as a last note, let's look at the whole situation. I mean, it's not exactly – it is a MotoGP seat, but, it doesn't exactly attract Raul Fernandez. It's an old bike. Morbidelli battled on it now. Dovi's battling on it. I don't want that. So in a way, the team kind of looked at it and went, well, where do we go? Let's look in-house. I mean, they put Jake Dixon on the bike They tried Garrett Gerloff on it. You know, their options were limited in many ways. Yes, it's a MotoGP ride, but not everyone was putting their hand up to go there, other than a Darryn Binder saying, geez, you know, I'll give that a go and I'll give it a proper go. And one question I didn't ask Darryn was, the contract is a 1 year, but with an option of a second year. So it would have been nice to talk to him about that. But I'll grab him in Port tomorrow and we'll ask him about that. A couple of people asking about Steven Odendaal, what's happening for next year. I have no idea. We'll ask him at the meet and greet. We'll ask him and see what he says. So make sure you get there. Look, we are going to try and live stream it on our Facebook page. So for those who aren't in Joburg, I know there might be talk of Brad and Darryn potentially doing other meet and greets around the country. I can't confirm that. It might happen. That's out of my hands. I don't deal with that. I deal with this one. But we will try live broadcast it so that as many people can see it as possible.
By live streaming, it's going to be me with my phone.
Yeah, I was going to say. Don be there with his phone, recording it all for you on the Bike Show and Don's page. But we'll expose it as much as we possibly can. I'm sure Don will grab some interviews for the Bike Show with the guys backstage before they go on. So look, we're going to expose it as much as we possibly can. So let's see. Wayne David Fisher, sorry, load shedding since 5 p.m. I'm going to download this video and I'll pop it up on our YouTube channel and I'll put the link out on the page. So yeah, you guys can watch it whenever you want. So don't feel too bad. I'm sorry about load shedding. Nothing we can do. Nothing we can do about that. Thanks, Rob and Don, for a great show. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and making it interactive and as exciting as always. And until next time, we'll see you later. Cheers, Don. Thank you.